For decades, Catherine O'Hara has occupied a rare place in popular culture, not merely as a comedian, but as a constant emotional presence across generations. She is one of those performers who feels woven into memory rather than celebrity, someone audiences don't just watch, but grow up with. From frantic holiday scenes to eccentric high society monologues, her performances carried an honesty that made even the most exaggerated characters feel grounded. What set her apart was never volume or spectacle, but precision, restraint, and emotional intelligence. She understood that comedy works best when it's rooted in truth. While the world celebrates her humour, fewer people recognise the discipline and quiet resilience behind it. This is not a story of scandal or downfall, but of endurance. A portrait of an artist who gave laughter freely while guarding her inner life carefully, reminding us that brilliance often speaks loudest when it refuses to shout. Roots of humour and survival. Born and raised in Toronto in a large Catholic family, Catherine O'Hara learned early that humour was both expression and survival. In a household filled with strong voices and constant motion, wit became a way to be seen, heard, and understood. That instinct carried her naturally toward improvisation, where listening mattered as much as speaking. When she entered the world of Second City in the 1970s, it was a demanding environment shaped largely by men, intensity, and constant creative pressure. O'Hara didn't compete by overpowering others. She adapted, absorbed, and transformed. She became known as a performer who could disappear entirely into a character, shedding vanity in favour of truth. This early foundation shaped everything that followed. She wasn't chasing attention, she was chasing accuracy. The laughter she generated wasn't forced, it was earned, and audiences sensed that authenticity instantly. Becoming a familiar face, mainstream recognition came gradually, not through overnight fame, but through consistency. Films like Beetlejuice and Home Alone didn't just showcase her comedic timing, they revealed her emotional range. In Home Alone, her portrayal of a frantic mother worked because it was grounded in genuine fear, love, and imperfection. She wasn't playing a caricature, she was playing a parent. That distinction turned a family comedy into a cultural ritual repeated year after year. O'Hara became a face associated with comfort and familiarity, someone audiences trusted instinctively. Yet with that visibility came expectation. The industry often froze her in place, assuming she would always exist within a narrow comedic lane. What many missed was her deliberate restraint. She chose projects carefully, stepping back when necessary, prioritizing balance over constant exposure and preserving the longevity that would later define her career. The weight of being funny comedy is often mistaken for lightness, but for performers like O'Hara, it carries weight. Making people laugh consistently requires discipline, emotional awareness, and vulnerability. Those closest to her have often described her as meticulous, thoughtful, and deeply invested in her craft. She treated humour as precision work, not chaos. Every pause, inflection, and expression mattered. This approach came with internal pressure. She wasn't chasing applause, she was chasing excellence. That quiet intensity meant she often carried stress privately, refusing to let personal struggles spill into her professional space. In an industry that rewards oversharing, her restraint became an act of quiet resistance. She understood that mystery protects longevity. While audiences saw ease and effortlessness, behind the scenes was a performer constantly refining, questioning, and holding herself to a standard few demanded of her but herself. Reinvention without noise. Later in her career, O'Hara accomplished something rare, reinvention without spectacle. Schitt's Creek didn't announce her return, it revealed her evolution. As Moira rose, she delivered a performance that was bold, theatrical, and completely unafraid, yet still grounded in emotional truth. The accent, wardrobe, and vocabulary became iconic. But beneath the surface was a woman navigating loss, identity, and reinvention. What made the performance resonate wasn't its extravagance, but its sincerity. O'Hara approached Moira not as a joke, but as a fully realized human being. The acclaim that followed felt overdue rather than surprising. Awards arrived, standing ovations followed, yet she remained unchanged in demeanor. No victory laps, no triumphal narratives, just gratitude, professionalism, and a continued refusal to overshare. It was proof that longevity is built quietly, not loudly. privacy as strength. In an industry driven by exposure, Catherine O'Hara's commitment to privacy stands out as one of her defining traits. She rarely invited the public into her personal life, not out of secrecy, but out of self-preservation. She understood that constant visibility can erode identity. Rather than fueling speculation or narrative drama, she let the work speak. This choice often led to misunderstandings, including assumptions about absence or disinterest, when in reality she was simply protecting balance. She watched peers burn out, lose themselves, or become trapped by public expectations. O'Hara chose a different path, one rooted in sustainability. She valued family, creative autonomy, and mental clarity over momentum. That discipline allowed her to return to the spotlight on her own terms, proving that stepping back is not retreat, but strategy. The cost of endurance longevity in entertainment comes at a cost rarely acknowledged. The emotional labor of performing joy, the physical demands of production, and the pressure to remain relevant all accumulate quietly. O'Hara carried these demands with professionalism, rarely allowing fatigue or frustration to surface publicly. Colleagues often noted her preparedness, focus, and respect for the craft, even during long shoots or demanding schedules. This consistency wasn't accidental, it was cultivated through discipline and restraint, yet endurance should not be confused with invulnerability. Like all artists, she balanced energy with recovery, ambition with boundaries. Her ability to navigate decades of change without losing her identity speaks to an internal compass that prioritized health, integrity, and purpose over spectacle. That balance, more than fame, is what sustained her presence across generations. A legacy that breathes. Catherine O'Hara's legacy is not defined by a single role or era, but by trust. Audiences trusted her to deliver honesty, whether through chaos or subtlety. She proved that comedy could be intelligent without being cold, eccentric without being cruel, and exaggerated without losing humanity. Her influence extends beyond screen credits into how comedy itself is approached. Younger performers study her restraint, her commitment to character, and her refusal to perform for approval alone. She demonstrated that success does not require constant reinvention, only deeper understanding. In a culture obsessed with immediacy, her career stands as evidence that patience still matters. The laughter she created continues to echo, not because it was loud, but because it was real. That is the mark of an artist whose work outlives the moment. Gratitude instead of goodbye. This is not a farewell, but an acknowledgement. Catherine O'Hara represents what happens when talent is guided by discipline, humility, and self-respect. She showed that an artist can belong to the public without surrendering themselves entirely. Her work remains available, alive, and deeply embedded in cultural memory. Each rewatch, each quoted line, each quiet moment of recognition reinforces that legacy. Rather than asking for more, perhaps the better response is gratitude for what already exists. For the laughter that softened difficult days, for characters that felt oddly familiar, for a career built not on excess but on intention. In celebrating her journey, we're reminded to look more closely at the people who make our lives lighter. Not after they're gone, but while they're still here, creating, evolving, and reminding us how powerful quiet brilliance can be.